Over the last several weeks, I've visited 6 high schools in my district to meet with juniors and seniors, about 2,000 students in total. Almost all of the students I meet are U.S. citizens. The majority are Latinos. Some have immigrant parents, and most will soon be eligible to vote. And all of them have one question for me. It starts every Q&A at every high school I visit. The questions are about Donald Trump. Is he going to be our next president? Is it true that he wants to revoke our citizenship, deport us to the countries our parents came from? Is it true he wants to round us up, Mr. Gutiérrez, and deport us all? It's very sad when the first question a congressman gets from American high school students are about how much they should fear their own government, whether their own government is going to break up their families, whether their own government is going to treat them not as citizens and as equal partners, but as outsiders and pariahs in their own country. When they hear that Trump is, quote, leading in the polls, they think that means that there's a pretty good chance that he'll be the next president. And when they see him on TV shows like Jimmy Fallon, not to mention CNN and Fox News, they get the feeling that he is a celebrity that all of us in America admire. When they hear that Trump is hosting Saturday Night Live, not just being a guest, but actually hosting, even after saying Mexicans are mostly rapists, criminals, and drug dealers, they get the impression that calling whole groups of people rapists, criminals, and drug dealers based on their ethnicity or national origin is basically okay with us in America. The real question these Chicago area high school students have is, hey, Gutiérrez, what are you going to do to defend us from Donald Trump? What are you going to do to stand up for us? This leads to an intense discussion about American politics, and I ask them right back, the students, what are you going to do to stand up for yourselves, for your community? Look, motivating 17 and 18-year-olds to do something that is not always easy, including motivating them to register to vote when they're old enough and to actually go out and vote. But when I ask these young Americans whether they plan to get registered and vote, every hand goes up in the classroom. Donald Trump is spurring youth voter mobilization like I've never seen before. Nationally, we know that 93% of Latinos under the age of 18 are citizens of the United States, and that every 30 seconds a Latino citizen turns 18. That's about 1 million a year for the next decade or so. If they are half as motivated as the young people I'm talking to in Chicago, Donald Trump could have a tremendous impact on the youth vote in the coming election. But let's be honest, do we really want to motivate civic participation through fear of deportation, racial profiling, and families being broken up? These are American teenagers growing up to distrust their government. Trump wants to take us back to the good old days of race relations, which apparently means the 1950s. When President Eisenhower evicted millions of immigrants and U.S. citizens from the United States. And Dr. Carson, who believes that human history is only about 5,000 years old, that's what he says, we've only been around 5,000 years, says mass deportation schemes, well, quote, I think it's worth discussing. Here in the House, we have considered measures to deport children more quickly, to make groups more distrustful of the police, and to delay Homeland Security funding. Testifying on one of these bills before the Rules Committee last year, I made the unfortunate, but real suggestion that Republicans were gravitating towards mass deportation policies, which provoked a response from the chairman, Mr. Sessions. He said, Gutiérrez, there's no one in responsible Republican leadership that has said we should deport 13 or 11 million people, and I find it extremely distasteful, Luis, that people would come here and suggest things that we have not suggested. Well, now that people are suggesting mass deportation openly and are gaining in the public opinion polls in the Republican Party, I wonder why there's so much silence from the Republican members of this body. But it's not just young Latino voters in Chicago that are being motivated by Republican attacks. When Republicans attack Planned Parenthood and block laws to guarantee equal pay for women, that motivates women to register and vote. When Republicans celebrate people who will not issue marriage licenses to 2 men or 2 women, a lot of people in the LGBT community get motivated to register and vote. When Republicans rail against unions and block increases in the minimum wage, while of course they earn $174,000 a year, and block environmental standards and block sensible gun laws, a lot of working class and middle class Americans get motivated to register and vote. Together with those young people I talked about at those high schools, we are forming a very, very powerful coalition. A coalition so powerful that someday even Republicans themselves will want to be part of it.